Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to give you a wild card for game week 12 and onwards. We'll be looking at the fixtures for these players coming up. We're looking at the prices. We'll be doing a statistical analysis on some of them. Let's take a look at what I've got for you. On screen we've got game week 12 fixtures are up. Remember, we are going to do this up until game week 17. So the next 5-week game fixtures all the way into December will be up there. We don't want to look too much further in advance than that. I would suggest, remember, you still get a transfer to do every week, so we can always plan and make adjustments from there. If you're definitely going to wildcard, press that button straight away. Get your provisional side in place. The one good thing about doing that is if any players go up in price, you protect yourself from that. If a player goes up 0.2, you obviously gain the benefit of that. I put profit in question mark there because we actually a few weeks ago tried to see, can you make a transfer player profit by just jumping on players that are going to go up in price and then come off them later on even if I didn't want them? The answer was no. No one went up in that international break by 0.2, so there was no profit to be had, but I did save myself 0.7 million by just bringing in players at the start of that 2-week period that went up in value. So it's definitely a value in getting that wild card sorted out as early as you can. If this is the first time on this channel, please click on that subscribe button, guys. We've got team selection videos, watch list, transfer tips coming up. But right now, let's jump into this wild card video. So first up, let's have a look at the goalkeeping situation. First on our team sheet, we've got Foster. I mean, those fixtures look horrible. Manchester United at home, Leeds away, Chelsea, Man City. Brentford then obviously looks nicer. Foster's not a player that I'm going to be putting into my side very often at all. He is just there because he is the cheapest playing goalkeeper in the game at the moment. There's no other reason for it. I'm certainly not targeting Watford. The one player that I would like to have in is Ramsdale. It would have been a toss-up and I was interested in Sanchez. Obviously, he's now suspended following his sending off. So 4.6, Ramsdale, I think is good value. He does have some difficult games. So Raya out and obviously Sanchez in suspended. It does give us less options in that area. I just think as a goalkeeper and the ceiling, the amount you can get, it isn't as high as an outfield player. So I'm not prepared to spend much more than 4.6. Newcastle at home, Southampton at home, look some decent fixtures. Everton away, still a red fixture. I'm not sure whether that should be classed. Liverpool away, traditionally they're going to be Arsenal do get rolled over, don't they, in those sort of fixtures. Ramsdale, though, plenty of safe bonus points potential. For me, I'm sticking with Ramsdale at the moment. Let's move into defence then. We have, first up, we have Ruben Dias. Doesn't offer a huge amount of attacking returns, has got to be said. He's got a very low XG of 0.12, but he's in that side just purely because he is playing every week for Manchester City, so no goals, he's got 1 assist. He will chip in, no doubt, with some sort of return over the season, but that's not why he's there. On the other side of the coin, we have Cancelo. He's already chipped in with 4 assists. His XG is much better. He's playing every minute of every game. I just want 2 Man City players to get on top of that Manchester City defence. They are so good, so tight, can keep clean sheets against absolutely anyone. Talking of which, we have Reece James. We know how attacking those Chelsea wing-backs have been. We did a study on it the other week. They've only failed to return in 1 game this season against Manchester City. Whoever has played there has returned in every game. So Reece James, 4 goals, 3 assists. Look at that XGI. 0.64. Wow, that would be brilliant for a striker. Any midfielder would be proud of that. The fact that he's playing for the tightest defence in the league as well, just for me, makes an absolute must-have. I prefer him over Chilwell. Not only is that XG better, and he's now produced more over the last couple of weeks than Ben Chilwell, even before that, he has that right-hand side, you would say, less competition for it than Chilwell. The reason for bringing Chilwell in, I would be umming and ahhing about it, but for the reason that Lonzo is now being ruled out for several weeks, he looks like he has that left-hand side done as well. For those two are just really exciting. So they look absolutely must-haves for me in that Chelsea team. Finally, we have with Livramento. Southampton kept 5 clean sheets out of 11 games this season, so that's pretty impressive from their point of view. 1 goal, 1 assist. We know what a gem he's been. He was 4 million. He's gone up to 4.5. His XGI not great, but I don't mind benching someone at 4.5 when the fixtures turn a little bit. It's always nice to have someone who's nailed on, playing 90 minutes for a side that is keeping clean sheets. I think Livramento still remains a really nice option. So looking at those fixtures then, you know what, I'm not even that bothered who Man City are playing. They just have to play. It's the same as Chelsea. Chelsea have a mixture, and do Man City. There's some nice green fixtures in there. There's a tough game. They've both got West Ham, and they've both got Manchester United at some point. But I'm just, they can keep clean sheets against absolutely anyone. So I'm happy to play them no matter what. Livramento does have a nice fixture against Norwich next week. I'd probably pay him for that. Liverpool away, I'd certainly be looking to bench. And after that, you can take it as it comes, see who else is in your side. But Leicester and Brighton at home, possibly the option of putting him in then. But you can wait and see. But from a defensive point of view, that looks really strong, and I'll be really happy with that. Moving into midfield, we have, of course, Mo Salah. Look at he's one of the most expensive players in the game. He's got 10 goals, 6 assists. I'm not going to go into too much detail. He's just an obvious pick. You would not want to go without him. I think you'd be hiding behind the sofa every week if you did. Certainly isn't worth shredding your nerves over. He has got to be in there, an absolute must-have. Then we have Heung-min Son, 10.3 million, 4 goals, 1 assist. Not spectacular. His XG, again, not spectacular. And he is an expensive midfielder to have. And in a minute, I'm going to justify why you should bring him in, looking at those fixtures, hoping for perhaps a revival under Conte for that Tottenham team. So we'll have a look at more detail with him in a minute. But I really like the look of him. Rafinha, he's been a set and forget for me all season. 4 goals, no assists. His XG is quite low for perhaps someone compared to Salah. But you have to remember, you're not paying a premium price for him. What I do like about him is his goal involvements all are coming in goals, which is obviously where the most points are coming from, especially for a midfielder. Picking up those bonus points as well. I think he's got 3 bonus points in the last 2 games, which is equivalent of an assist as well. So he's been doing really well. We know everything goes through him at Leeds and what an important player he is. Nailed on, getting the minutes. He looks like someone I just want to have in my side. Gallagher, last couple of games as well. 4 goals, 4 assists. That's fantastic for a Palace side that have had a tough set of fixtures at the start of the season. I think they played away at Chelsea, they played away at Liverpool, they played away at Man City. He's really returning well. 5.8, constantly going up in value as well. His XGI has been brilliant all season, 0.7. He looks like an absolute steal, enabler, and producing returns all the time. He looks great. And then Smith Rowe, we know how good he looks as well. 3 goals, 2 assists. XGI not great. Again, for his price, he looks really good as well. I don't think there's many other players that I would rather go on at the moment for his price. The fact that Arsenal aren't in Europe as well gives me a bit more security. He's not going to get overplayed. There's not going to be that squad rotation risk. He just looks like a great option and an enabler as well. With all these premium players, we have to bring some cheaper players in. Smith Rowe and Gallagher look like the pick of them to me. So looking at the fixtures then, which are absolutely crucial, I think Salah's pretty much fixture proof. If you can go to Old Trafford and score a hat-trick, then you can pretty much go anywhere and do the business. So he's picking up points all the time. I'm not really concerned about what fixtures he's got. He just plays. He's always a captaincy option as well. I mean, you've got Arsenal at home, Southampton, 2 reasonable fixtures. Everton away will be a Merseyside derby. Wolves away, that's got a green now. I'm not sure about that. And Villa at home. So they're decent fixtures, but Salah is just someone you have to have on your side. Going back to Heung-min Son then, I said we'd look at him in more detail. Leeds at home, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich. Wow, those 4 games look fantastic. If you are Antonio Conte coming into this side, trying to make an impression and hit ground running, I don't think you could ask for a better set of fixtures than those. 2 of them are at home as well. Brentford not on a great run. Burnley only won 1 game all season. Norwich obviously the same. They look great. I want to be on board with that. Heung-min Son plays 90 minutes. What is rolling aside at the moment looks to be a little bit unsure, but I do know he will be playing, and we know how explosive he can be. I just think he looks like a fantastic option in that midfield. Rafinha, some decent fixtures as well. Palace and Brentford coming up. I mean, Palace again, I have to question some of these off the FPL website about the green or the red. Palace looks like a hard game to me, to be honest. Grays and obviously Chelsea away. 6.6 though. Rafinha can just produce in any game. I do love him. I want to keep him in the side. Gallagher away at Burnley. Then you have Villa, Leeds. Again, I'm not any concerns about playing him in that game. Smith Rowe does have tough games coming out. Liverpool away. Newcastle looks like a nice one. And then Man U Everton again, followed up by Southampton away. At home. For 5.7, I don't mind benching him for one of these games. Remember, we've got 15 players, but we do have to bench someone. They've got to, not everyone can play, I'm afraid. So for Smith Rowe, 5.7. He's someone that, I don't mind benching. The same with Gallagher when the going gets tough, and Livramento. You just can't play all of them. But that midfield looks really strong, and I really like that. Up front was possibly the hardest part of this wildcard to put together. First up, I had to go Harry Kane. With those fixtures we've just seen for Tottenham, he's nailed on. He's on penalties. Forget what he's only done this season. He's got 1 goal, 1 assist, and his XGI is not great at 0.43. It's still pretty decent, don't get me wrong. But just remember how good he was last year. He's not massively changed. He was good in the Euros as well, remember, guys. He's come back, had a little bit of a break. Tottenham have had their problems. Maybe on the Conte we'll see a bit of a renaissance. But I think for those fixtures coming up, he has to be someone to target. What a differential he could be as well. His price is going up, so people getting on him. I do think, out of all the strikers we've got at the moment, he stands out as being the one I would want. Hwang, 5.8, again, 4 goals so far this season. XGI is same as Harry Kane. You look at that and you go, wow, one's 5.8, the other's 12.2. But it's those fixtures and that reputation, I suppose, that Kane lives on. And we know how destructive explosives can be. But Hwang's been great. He's getting lots of minutes as well for Wolves. And then finally, again, we have Broha. Didn't play against Aston Villa on Friday night. Whether he starts against Norwich is unsure. For 5 million, though, he is just in there as a budget player. He's got 2 goals, decent XGI. It's just, with this side, you do have to make some sacrifices. With the likes of Kane, Salah, Son, that defence, there has to be compromises somewhere. And I think up front, while the likes of DCL and Bamford are out, I think that's where they've got to come. Fixtures-wise, we just looked at Harry Kane's at Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich and Brighton just look phenomenal. Wolves got a nice couple of games. They've got a home to West Ham that you could certainly still score in that. Norwich and Burnley look nice. Southampton got Norwich this week. Whether Broha starts or not is unsure, but they look like some great fixtures to get on board with. And again, for those prices, Broha, I'm up for discussion in a minute as to where we could go with him instead and options. But 5 million, don't mind benching him. Here's the side in its entirety as we've been through the players already. Remember, this is a wildcard team for Game Week 12. It's not just for Game Week 12 in isolation. We would be taking into account the next 5 games, having looked at the fixtures, the forms, the availability of the players, how nailed on they are. I think you have 15 sort of playing players here, definitely. Maybe Broja's the only one I would consider that is possibly got his place that's not nailed down. But I really like this side. I love the defence. So many attacking options in that defence. You're doubling up on Man City and Chelsea. You've got Livramento there as an option too. The midfield looks great. You've covered Salah. Son is a little bit of a punt, I would say, but those Tottenham fixtures look brilliant. Smith Rowe and Fina on fire, Gallagher producing the goods. You do have to make sacrifices. That's the only problem with this side. That defence, Son, Salah, there's got to be some concessions, and it is up front when you've got Kane as well. Hwang and Broja are the ones that offer it. As a caveat, the cost of this side, 101.4 million. So I am aware that some people have got more money than that to play with. Some people might struggle to get to this. So I will go through some of the options that can tweak around with the side, give you different players. You can downgrade someone like Son if you don't fancy doubling up on that Tottenham team. So let's have a look. So the obvious man to downgrade would be Son. I don't think there's any money to be made in downgrading the likes of Gallagher or Rafina or even Smith Rowe. Salah's someone that I just would not want to go without. So Son is the obvious choice. It also perhaps might be that you don't want to double up on that Tottenham team at the moment. Wait and see what happens. You can downgrade obviously to someone like a Phil Foden. That reduces an extra 2.1 million, in which case you could then start to look at options with Broja. Bernardo Silva gives you another 3.2. He's playing every game. Obviously, he's got game returns against Manchester United. And we know how popular Ilkay Gundogan can be and how explosive he was last year when he was in the side. So he's an option as well. He particularly performed well, if you remember, when there was no recognised striker or Guerrero wasn't fit. So perhaps he can look to take on that role again. His GI looks really good, his expected goal involvement. He's a player that I think we'll cover later on in our watch list, but he's someone that interests me a great deal. That saves you 3.1, so suddenly you can go to a few other options with Broja, which again we'll look at in a minute. Outside of Manchester City, Zaha looks a great option. He's going up in price as well, so you have to be aware of that. He's on pens, getting 90 minutes every week for a Palace side that looks in form. And the last one, I don't think we can go through this without mentioning Diego Jota. His stats still remain really high, his XGI, And the fact now that Firmino's been ruled out until after the international break, where he may take a couple more games to come back in, really looks to give Jota an edge there. He seems to be nailed on in that Liverpool side, who do have some nice fixtures going forward. Again, that gives you another 2.8 in which you can look at to invest elsewhere, especially up front. So if you did make a move and downgrade Son, what could you do with that extra cash? You have the likes of Broha could be upgraded. You could go, if you can afford it, up to a Lukaku. That would be a great move. Vardy's got lovely fixtures coming up. That would be a possibility. Ivan Toney's been one a lot of people jumped on. His price went down at the start of the season. Then it's gone back up again. He isn't producing, but we do know he's on pens. He's absolutely nailed on that Brentford side. Could he be a differential? Then we have Raul Jimenez. We looked at a comparison between him and Hwang earlier on in the week. He looks still a good option to me. 6.9. Not many options are available, you don't think, around that point. So I quite like Jimenez, but I wouldn't sure be confident going Hwang and Jimenez doubling up. Edouard playing a lot of time for Palace. Again, though, would you be prepared to double up on the on the Zaha and the Gallagher? But all options that you could possibly consider if you downgraded Heung-min Son. Hope you found that useful, guys. Please click on that subscribe button if you enjoy FPL content. Watch lists coming out, team selection videos. So in the meantime, I hope your team does great, and I'll speak to you soon.